That's a good question. What's your process for supporting so many car platforms? Does 034 have a large collection of its own cars, or do you use customer employee cars, such as with your Mark V example? You're right. We do support over a dozen different models and platforms, and in some cases, you have facelift versions of the same cars that further complicate things. So generally, the company owns about 8 to 10 cars at a time that we go out and buy using the company's money. The company owns these cars. And then I think one of the perks of working here is we have an employee development car program where if we can have access to an employee's vehicle, then we will reimburse them for part of their payments for owning that car. So a lot of times employees who are looking for new cars will come to us and say, hey, what's on the employee development list? We'll say, if you go out and buy, an A6 C-Rack of this year, we can give you this much a month towards the payment. So it's a bonus for both the employee and the company. And I would say in rare cases we use customer cars. Typically we use customer cars for final test fit and validation if we need. If we wanted to do everything with in-house company cars, we'd probably have to own 30 cars.
Yeah,
so
likely, yep.
So sometimes through our service department, we will know of enthusiastic customers who are looking for new mods for their cars, and so we'll reach out and say, hey, can we validate our pre-production spring sample on your car? And so we install that on their car, verify it right before we release it to make sure it's what we need. So we use all that stuff. It's pretty standard, I think, across the tuning industry. Now there are quite a few companies in our industry that strive to only use customer cars for development,
Right.
And that's just a nightmare because you're either not. Typically, customers don't want to go too deep with their cars. They don't want to experiment too much with them. So you either don't get to do enough testing, or if you do the kind of in-depth testing that you'd like, it becomes a nightmare for the customer because they lose access to driving their car for months at a time.
Yeah.
So we've made that mistake in the past. I still hear about these bad things going on in our industry with companies trying to use customer cars to develop products. It's not worth the money you save. I'll tell you that much.
Well, yeah, and it's not even that you can often save money, because to get a production level calibration or product or whatever it is you're using that vehicle for, you need to be in control of all of the variables. And that's a really tough thing to do with a customer's car, where they may have intake X, exhaust Y, downpipe Z, and then have all these other glue-on things that it's a unicorn of a car at that point that you're calibrating, and you're going to be struggling to figure out when you go to set up that calibration for the next car or the next ECU, what was unique to that car that you need to account for and deal with. So you really kind of got to own all of the variables, all of the setup, all of the configurations of that car, and then step it up through your staged setups.